Hi, I'm Raven. I'm a musician from Brazil, and this is obviously my channel where I've been sharing my original music for some time. And now I'm doing these kinds of videos where I just talk about stuff that I think it's important and my parts of my journey as not only a musician but an artist in every way that I choose to express myself. So today I'm gonna talk about my experience as a screenwriter. What I mean by it, I've never been a professional screenwriter, but I've gone to school to learn screenwriting. So I was in school for about a year and a half, and you had to pick your major, so you could pick directing or editing or screenwriting. So I wanted to do the three of them, but I could only afford one. So I chose screenwriting because I've been writing my whole life. I've always loved to write. I've talked a bit about that in other earlier videos when I was talking about my lyric writing. So I think it was natural for me to just go for screenwriting. And I've always liked movies and series and stories in general, so I really wanted to learn how to be one of those people who would write those stories. I don't remember that much when in the beginning, but I guess I was a little bit naive in thinking that screenwriting would be more like a normal writing, like regular writing, like writing a book or a short story, because I had been writing short stories for myself for a little while, and some kind of prose poems that could be read as stories. At least in my head they were. Anyway, so I was kind of naive in that way, that I thought it would be, oh, I know how to do that. Boy, was I wrong. It kind of surprised me a little bit, because when you started having classes and the teachers would go like, no, it's not the same. You have to write thinking about the images that are going to appear on the screen, and not what you think people will get from what you're writing. I don't know how to express myself right now in that way. Anyway, when I heard the teacher, I was like, oh, okay, I don't think it's that much of a deal. I mean, yeah, okay, I'm gonna like think of a scene, so I have to describe the scene. And at first I was kind of turned off, because I was like, I hate describing stuff. That's one of the things that I really hated. So I was like, how will I stand this for a year and a half if everything that I have to write, I will have to describe? That's what I thought at the time. And I used to hate reading books that were extremely descriptive, like some of Anne Rice's books that I love. I used to hate the ones that she would like just go on for pages about like Lestat's clothes and the room he was walking in. And I was like, oh my God, why? I just want to know what happens. I don't want to know where he is. Of course, I want to know where he is, but I don't have to know everything about the room. I don't care. I just want to know what's going to happen. So I was that person. Nowadays, sometimes it gets on my nerves still, but not quite as it used to. I can now enjoy those descriptions more, because it really gets you to a certain scene. You can really, if you're not like being anxious like I was, if you're reading and you don't want to be anywhere else but right there reading at the moment, like enjoying the moment, then you can appreciate that, because it really gets you to the scene. Of course, there's like a balance, because if you describe too much, then it gets boring. But anyway, I've been reading the last books in the Vampire Chronicles, and although there are many pages filled with those kinds of descriptions, it really didn't make me feel that way anymore. So I guess I kind of matured in that way, maybe, but I definitely can appreciate that now. But at the time, I couldn't. I really hated. So I hated the fact that I was going to have to do the same because I hated doing that. It was kind of a lazy thinking too. I'm pretty lazy. I have to admit that. I have a really hard time having to push myself to do the hard work because I'm really anxious. Like, I really want to get to the end of the stuff. So, okay, let's go. I don't want to, if I'm doing something, I just want to get to the end. So it's really annoying if I have to get stuck in a part of something I'm doing. And that's kind of paradoxical because when I get too much into the details of a song, for example, or even a drawing, I cannot let that go until it's in my head perfect. So it's kind of a paradox. I'm a walking paradox. Anyway, I'm sure I'm not the only one. But going back to the story, I really dreaded the thought of having to describe scenes. But I didn't think it would be hard. Technically, I didn't think it would be hard. I just emotionally, it would be really hard for me. But boy, was I wrong. It was hard. Everything was hard. Not only for me, of course. Many of my colleagues also thought it would be quote unquote easy, but we had a hard time with our teachers because they would always tell us that we would be too literary, to the point that we started to resent that word because it was like, oh my God, what do they mean with too literary? I don't know what that means. And in my head I was like, okay, I think they're saying that I'm writing like I'm writing in a book or a short story. And I would write back what I had written. And I was like, no, this is not a book. Or this is not something I would write in a book or in a short story. This is truncated and weird. I wouldn't write like this. So no, it's not too literary. What do you mean? So I kind of got pissed off a lot, but not only myself, of course. Many of my colleagues were really frustrated with that. And we had to unlearn what we learned about writing. And a year and a half later, I could finally write a draft of a full film. I had written some short films, like the script for like a couple or more short films, because we would always have to write some kind of a script at the end of the semester. And by the end of a year and a half, we had to write a whole script for a feature film. So I had been writing for short film, but something that would really turn me off also would be the dialogue. And then I realized that dialogues were really hard to write because it's not like books. It's definitely not like poetry. So it was really hard because it would be, for me, really, I would say bad, but bad is not the right word. Is more like corny. It would always feel corny and fake. And at the time, right after that, I started working, but not as a screenwriter. I started working as the sound woman to lots of short films. And I started to focus on not only the script, but what the actors would do with the script. Most of the scripts were like artistic. Lots of them wouldn't have dialogue. They would be just actors acting without dialogue, and just real artistic short films, especially because we didn't have the money to have really good sound equipment, so we had to work with what we had because we were students and everything. So we would always prefer not to have the sound. I would go there to work as the Foley woman. I would go there to record the ambience and little specific sounds here and there, but not dialogue, because we didn't have a boom, we didn't have a mixer, so it was really hard. So, but I would always focus on the actors, even so, and I would try to see the script and the scene that will be playing in front of me, and would try to decipher that. How do not only the director, but especially the actors read this and interpret this to become that? That's how I was trying to understand, so I could get this and put it on my writing afterwards if I would write another screenplay, because I had written this screenplay for my final exam in the film school, but it was I didn't think it was, of course it wasn't the last draft. It was only not the first one, but the second or the third one, and I of course had to rewrite that over and over again until it became decent. I knew that, but I didn't want to do that until I understood how to do a good job, because I clearly had the worst time being concise. Many times it was my pages were kind of truncated and having lots of what we used to call blocks. I don't know if they call blocks today. I guess they do. I don't know, but my teacher would always go avoid blocks of texts on your screenplay like hell, And I used to have a really hard time avoiding those blocks, because for me, all that information had to be there. I didn't know how to be concise. And that's one of the things that I'm still struggling with. I really struggle with being concise in what I want to say. So that's one of the things that is really hard for me in writing lyrics for my songs, because I want to say so many things. Like, okay, I'm gonna write a song about this specific thing, specific moment in my life, and I can't, because there are so many things. There are things that are happening. I'm just like, okay, let's go focus on it like it's a film. That's why I'm doing this video, because I think this is kind of helping me write my lyrics now, because I think of them as little films. So I just go back to when I started writing scripts, and I try to remember the things that my teachers would say and all of the kind of rules and everything. So now I try to look at my lyrics and go, okay, think of it as movies. So try to be as specific as you can and do as many descriptive phrases and sentences as you can, like the person has to be there with you. So I try to focus on those things, but it becomes like a huge story. And I was like, no, it can't fit into a 3-minute song. This is like a whole fucking story. That's what I've been kind of doing, and that's been kind of frustrating, because it makes me, in one hand, like, I don't know if I want to do that, because it's too much work for a 3-minute song. I don't want to write like a whole book about a 3-minute song. Oh my God. But on the other hand, I was like, oh my God, maybe I could write a whole book about a 3-minute song, and then the book would go with the song, and it would be like, oh my God, the best thing ever. And I was was thinking about that before I knew that Aurora, the artist, the singer, was doing that. I think she did, she wrote a book based on her last record, and then now she wrote another book based on her new record, that What Happened to the Heart. And I saw an interview with her where she said that she always writes a book when she writes an album. So only 2 years ago that she started releasing it as a part of the marketing of the album. But according to her, she has a book for each one of her albums. I didn't know that. I was kind of having those ideas in my head, like thinking, oh my God, no one's doing that. Oh my God, so megalomaniac. And I was thinking about that, and then Aurora came up saying that. But I didn't think, oh my God, no, I won't do that anymore because she did it already. Of course not. But I thought it was really cool. And I had the opposite reaction. I was like, oh, so yeah, I can do that. I can do it. It's allowed. I don't know why I think like that, but I was like, oh, she did it and everyone loved it, so I can do it too. But then I go back to it and was like, okay, here I go again. Instead of writing a song, I'm going over to the other side and wanting to do a lot in so little time. This is frustrating because I can't seem to have a focus. That's one of my issues too with writing. Not only writing, but like finishing my projects. Of course, I know I'm not the only one. I know many of you listening to it also go through that. Just sharing my journey here, saying that it's really frustrating, and I hear you, I feel you. And anyway, going back to the story, I would approach my lyric writing as a small film, and then I was trying to put all those sentences where they are descriptive and everything, but then it would go way far. Now I have to just keep scratching everything and deciding which ones are gonna stay. Not only that, but I would start by describing things, but I don't know when it would just flip and I would just start writing about feelings and emotions and everything. And when I finished, I would go back to it and I would be like, where's the film here? Now you go and went all literary again. Why? So I know that songs are not movies. You can be a little literary on songs. You can be whatever you like, but you can be a little literary because songs are not visual things. You hear them, so you can imagine, like a book. You read them and you can imagine something. But it's good if you can put the listener exactly where you were. So to do that, you have to be so specific. And it's really difficult when you know where you are and you have to get out of your head and talk like you would be trying to describe this to someone like your friend. And it's really obvious when you think like that. But when you're writing, at least for me, when you're writing, it's really difficult to think like that because I'm really in the zone. So I cannot seem to understand that I can be in the zone and out of the zone at the same time, meaning I'm in a zone thinking about that specific thing that I want to write about, but at the same time I'm seeing myself from outside and trying to describe that thing that I'm feeling in the exactly way that I'm feeling in the zone. So I have to be two characters at the same time, and I have to focus. I know I can do that because I did it many times, but I have to get in the zone of the zone. I don't know how to explain that more explicitly than this. So I recently am using this experience that I had in film school and then writing afterwards. I would always talk to actors. People in the crew would think I'm kind of weird because the sound people would not kind of be around actors and stuff, and I would because I first because I like talking to people. I like knowing people. So it's like, for me, it's second nature. If the person is open to a conversation, I'm gonna go talk to them. I don't care about those hierarchy things that people do and care, not only in film industry or TV industry or whatever it is, because I know it's not only on those places specifically. It happens everywhere. It happens in music, and I just roll my eyes indefinitely because I hate that. I'm not gonna do that. I don't care. Whoever looks at me and think I'm a stupid person because I don't comply with their rules, I don't fucking care. Go be with your people, limiting yourself to that group. I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing my thing and talking to everyone who wants to talk. So I would really enjoy seeing everyone else working So I would talk to the actors because it would interest me how they would see the scenes and how they would come up with their own dialogue, because there were many other scripts that I would be working, doing sound, and I don't know if I would have access to the script. I think I would, because there were some people that would give me access to the script so I could think about what I would need for the sound the next day or in a specific scene. I don't know. It was a really long time ago, but I think that was a thing. Anyway, I would have access to the script some of the times, and then I would read it and I would kind of remember what the actors would be saying. And then when they would play the scene, it wasn't really like it was in the script. And the director was okay with it. The actors seemed to be okay. And I was like, interesting. Why? And then I would go ask them, why would you change this? Why would you change that? Why did you say this instead of what was written? And of course, every interview with Hollywood actors that I like and I had already been watching before, I would just all of that would go into my head and would start making sense. Oh, of course, they have creative freedom here to go with the flow. And I would learn with them. And then I would learn with the art people, the art director and the art assistants, and why would they go into those rooms and make the rooms look like this or look like that? Why would they specifically choose this type of object instead of that one? Or why would they choose this specific layout or this specific object? There was so many stories hidden like right in front of me that I never knew. And you watch a movie and you watch a TV show and you're not aware that your brain is picking up on all of that, even if you're not consciously aware of that, but you are aware. Every person that works in making a movie or making a TV show, they know that. So it was really interesting. It was one of the best experiences in my life. I would never, ever regret that. Even though I'm not working in TV and movies anymore, I would never say, no, never again, I'm not going back. I would never say that. I just wasn't really happy doing sound anymore because it was really tiring, and my back is not what it was like 10 years ago. So I just can't stand hours and hours with the boom in my hands. I can't stand that anymore. So that's one of the things that just let me out of it. Anyway, but I've learned a lot. So after all those years, my cousin who works as a photographer in film, at the time he was working in film and short films and TV, but nowadays he focuses more on advertisement, but he also works in movies too. Anyway, he had an idea. He wanted to write a script based on this idea, but he didn't know how to write. He knows how to write a script, but he doesn't like it, so he doesn't enjoy it. So he came to me and he pitched his idea, and we started talking about his ideas, and I was like, okay. So he had an idea, a basic idea for 2 characters, and we started talking about it, and we had some more ideas, and I just like recorded everything that we were talking, and I was like, okay, so let me go home and have some ideas by myself, and then next we can get together again and talk about those ideas that I will have for you. And we kept doing that for some meetings. We had like a couple, 3-4 meetings, just discussing the characters, and I would go back and I would tell him that I just decided that we would have 2 more characters, 3 more characters, 4 more characters. So at the end of the day, it was like 2 main characters, but like 5 important characters and some other characters involved. And there was a story, and we were agreeing on stuff or disagreeing and changing stuff and everything. So it started becoming a script. And after we wrote the first draft, of course, we started sending to other friends who would also write scripts, who were also in the film industry, in the TV industry and stuff, so they could tell us what is working, what's not working, and everything. So we went through it over and over and over. It was really annoying. It was annoying as fuck, to be honest. We had to go back to the basics. We had to go back to the scenes, to rewrite scenes, to flat out delete scenes, delete characters, or rewrite characters. It was really a pain in the ass. But I think at the end of it, the last draft that we wrote, I think it was the 10th or 9th draft. I don't know. People seem to like, other people who would read it seemed to be happy with it. So we were like, oh, okay, so I think now it's working. I don't think it's working anymore. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure that if I go back and read that script, I'm gonna hate it. I'm pretty sure. But it was working for us at that time, and we learned a lot. And I told that story because I think that rewriting part, writing and rewriting and throwing things off and putting things that people would say that would be better and stuff, really hurt my pride in a way that I eventually got over it, and it worked for my music, because I wouldn't want anyone saying anything bad about anything that I did in music. Like, you could say anything about my writing or my script writing, but not my songs. Shut up and go to hell. And it's not like that anymore, because this is pretty immature. It's an immature way of seeing things. Now I know that I can receive feedback and disagree with it. I know enough about my art and my songs to know when the feedback is welcome and when it is not. And it's not personal attack. That's the most important thing. It's not a personal attack. Sometimes it is, but generally it's not. The person really wants to help you, usually the person is trying to help you by saying, oh, I think this is too sad, or I think maybe you can, many people have said that to me in the past. I think maybe you should write more joyful songs. No, I shouldn't. I should write the songs that I want to write. But that's okay. You don't like sad songs. That's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that my songs are bad because they're sad. It's just that they don't like hearing sad music, and it's fine. And it doesn't mean either that they're like, oh my God, you suck. You don't know how to write anything. Everything you write is bullshit. It's not that either. It's just their opinion about my song. So now, if I write a sad song, I'm not going to those people because I know they're going to say that my songs are too sad. I go to people who are more balanced in their music taste. So they can enjoy joyful songs and can enjoy angry songs, and they can enjoy sad songs. Because I wouldn't go only to people who like sad songs because they would be biased too. I want to know both sides. But I won't go to someone who just hates or doesn't enjoy at all listening to sad songs because they won't like my songs, you know. Anyway, maybe they do, but usually those people that I'm speaking about, they won't. I'm sure of that. And you just know who to ask for feedback and who not to ask for feedback, because there are some people who just like music and you want to know if the general public would like your song, of course. So it's good for you to go ask for feedback from people who are not in the know, be it in the music industry or knowing music theory or knowing how to write songs. People who are just laymen on that. It's good for you to know their opinion because you can see if it's working with the general public. But I think it's important too that you get feedback from people who know what they're doing, like musically speaking. I'm talking about music, but this works for everything. I was talking about screenwriting, and the same goes for screenwriting. So I think that's what I wanted with this video. I wanted to share a bit about my experience in script writing and how this translated to my lyric writing and how it's working for me now, and it's making me, I like to think so, a better lyric writer, because I see writing lyrics as less of just a game, or just a thing that would like magically go through me and into my hands, and I would just like vomit everything on a page, and more like a craft, more like, no, let's really dive into it and let's craft this. Let's rewrite this. Let's just erase whole verses and whole choruses if it's not working. I think I can only do that now, that I did already for my last releases, because of my horrible time writing and rewriting and rewriting my scripts, and being feeling defeated when people wouldn't like it, and having to write off characters that I really enjoyed, and having to rewrite stories that I really liked. And all those things really helped me by understanding how to get rid of things that are not working on my lyrics, and not only on my lyrics but on my songs too. If I like a part that is, oh my god, I like this guitar and this piano and this violin and this cello all at the same time, no, it's not working. You're gonna get rid of something. You have to get rid of something. And even if I like it a lot, I just get rid of it. It's really painful, but I know I have to get rid of it. And I learned everything from screenwriting. So that's what I always say to people around me and now here in the channel. If you're creative in many different ways, please try to work with all of them together. Like, take the lessons that you learn in a creative endeavor and try to bring those lessons into another that you do. Because we often, many times we do that unconsciously, but consciously it's even better, because when you do, sometimes it's good for you to record this. If you learn something, just record you talking about it or write it down. It's good for you to do that, because afterwards you can just read that page where you say, I've learned this, this, and this. And when you're having a hard time doing another thing, like in my case, if I just like jotted down what I learned about screenwriting after many rewrites, I would have a sheet where I could read when I was like working on my songs, and I would read that sheet and I would like, oh, I learned how to take feedback not personally. I learned how to rewrite stuff without crying. I learned how to get rid of things that are not working. So if I would read that when I was struggling with writing songs, I would like try to meditate on those things, and maybe 5 to 10 minutes later, I would be in a state of mind where I could just be open to those things and not care that much anymore. Just write whatever comes to my mind, and then I know that afterwards I'm gonna change it over and over and over and over until it is crafted. So I think that's the message of this video. So if you're still with me in this video up to now, thank you for watching the video, for listening. If you had some experiences in other types of creative endeavors that you brought up to music, to your songs, to your songwriting, please comment here. I would really like to know. I'm always looking for new ways of seeing things, of trying to make my songwriting and my music writing a little more enjoyable. So please do share your experiences in other aspects of the creative world, and how you manage to bring that to the music that you write or the art that you do, please. Anyway, if you would like to donate to this channel, we have a Ko-Fi account here that it's in the description, and I would be really grateful for any change that you could spare. And if you enjoy the video, if you enjoy the content, please do leave a like here. That so that this video can reach as many people as it can. I'll be extremely grateful. And if you're not a subscriber already, please do consider subscribing so we can talk more about art. And also, if you would like to hear my songs and my music, all the links are in the description below. And there are many playlists where I have my musical projects, and there are other playlists where I do some cover songs. So just enjoy if you would like to get to know my music better. Anyway, thank you again, and see you in the next video.